Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our episode of Escaping Success podcast. I'm Tom Leffler, another solo-sode. Today, I'm going to talk about how to achieve things you want and also to find what you actually want. I don't think it's discussed enough how to find your purpose or what you actually want in life, not what other people expect or society expects you to want, friends, family, other outside influences, social media, but what actually you truly want. For myself, I found to create space for myself in the morning by journaling usually works very well. To find my purpose / vision, I would spend time in the morning, about 5 minutes every morning, just journaling, literally the question, what do I want? And by doing that consistently over a prolonged period of time, it led me to find my purpose / vision in life. Also, for myself, I realized purpose doesn't have to be this grand, spectacular thing. It could just be, my purpose today is to make someone's day. My purpose today is to serve my family. My purpose today is to treat my dog well, or whatever that might be for me in that day. So it's not, purpose doesn't have to be this save the whales or solve world hunger. It can be some grand, outrageous thing or a huge thing. I think that's beautiful, but I think a lot of the time I suffered in the sense of trying to figure out what's my purpose, why am I here? And through the help of coaching with Tony Robbins and Rob Dial, I found that purpose doesn't have to be this grand thing, and it could change. It could change in the context of what I'm doing that day or what's going on in my life. And it doesn't have to be one big thing, it could be many little things. And that really kind of took off that existential angst on myself, that pressure to be like, what's my purpose? Like, why am I here? Like the big question that I oftentimes ask myself, and I didn't really have a straight answer of like one sole purpose. But through journaling in the morning, what do I actually want? And then realizing it could be little things of why I'm here or what am I meant to do on this planet. It helped me get more certainty and more conviction on what my purpose / purposes are here on this planet. And it felt a lot better because I was very just frustrated with myself for a long time in the sense of why am I here? Like, what excites me? Like, what's my purpose? And took me honestly years to find out that I don't have this grand major purpose, but I do have many purposes. My family, my businesses, my friends, my community. And then going into that, once you find your purpose, I think it's not oftentimes like talked about, it's okay, one, find your purpose, but then how do you actually achieve or work towards your purpose? And everyone thinks like you have to do 4 a.m. cold shower, hour workout, fasted cardio, whatever that is, or work 12 hours, 16 hours a day. It doesn't have to be that grand thing. It can be for a part of your life or a lot of your life, but I don't think people realize it doesn't, for myself, it didn't have to be this grand, 16-hour days, 7 days a week. I tried doing that, and it obviously leads to burnout and numbness, which, it gets results, but it wasn't the life I wanted. But I found that just consistent action. That's everything in life is just about being consistency that I found for myself. Anything I want in life, it's just consistently showing up and doing the boring things. It's not sexy. It's so simple, yet so hard to do. It's just consistently showing up and doing the things that I'm supposed to do. And for myself, it was keeping promises to myself. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Now, I think in the past, I would try to tell myself to do too much, and then that would lead to issues where I'd feel like frustrated or not happy with myself because I was expecting too much. Like, I had 30 things I'm going to do today. I'm going to do gratitude journal, grounding, workout, sauna, cold plunge, work 16 hours, make 100 calls. I was just asking too much of myself versus doing what's things I can consistently do for the rest of my life or for this period of my life to work towards my goals. I think it's what worked for me is being realistic, one, and then just keeping promises to myself. What am I going to do today to move me closer to my vision / purpose or my goals? And that's when you create that space and you find your vision and purpose, which I think is step one. That's what I did. And then once you find out what that is for you or what things that may be for you, I think it helps then to move forward and start making consistent steps. And actually, it's, for myself, I've made many wrong steps. Like, I had a vision or purpose, and actually I've changed my vision and purpose many times, and that's normal. Like, it's kind of a weird spot to reach, what you think you want and then it not be it. And it's okay to reevaluate, reassess, and then, okay, I thought I wanted those things, I don't want those things, and then really go back to square one. Like, what do I actually want? Why am I here? Like, what purposes do I serve to be here? And then once you find that, then, take steps towards that. Again, even the steps for myself, like, you could be like, okay, I'm gonna try to say, for example, I wanna, acquire a new skill. So I'll dedicate, a half hour every day towards that skill. And you might be doing that for 6 months or a year and realize, okay, I acquired that skill and that no longer serves me. It doesn't have to be so cut and dry, because I'm very stubborn. And so if I say I'm gonna do something, I usually do it. But I've also been guilty of doing things just to do it versus it wasn't really serving me anymore, just because of my own stubbornness and saying that, like, okay, so I'm gonna do it. But then, like, I'm doing something longer than I'm supposed to. Time is valuable, and we only have so much energy. Especially as I've gotten older and more opportunities to present itself, I realized my time is more valuable than ever, and it's important to be conscious of how I spread my time. If I really want to be, a great person in business, okay, I gotta sacrifice, maybe some personal time, like, leisure time, or even relationships might suffer for a bit. That's just part of the process. You can't have it all the time. You can have it all, I realize, but just not everything at once. Again, it's hard to understand that, but for myself, I realized, like, okay, I can, build a really good, strong physique, but then I also at the same time can't be partying and socializing and have, crazy good, like, relationships per se, in a sense of late nights and, meeting people, doing stuff. If I'm like, I want to be at the best physique, but I could, dedicate, 3 to 6 months, build a great physique, build that up. And then maintaining that is easier once I establish that, then I could spend more time with friends. And the same thing goes with business. I could spend like a prolonged period of time on the business, growing a business, getting that established, especially like the first 3 to 5 years in any business is the hardest, because you're not really making money. Things aren't really happening like you expect them to. So I think by dedicating a period of life, a phase of life to building that business, once it's established, then you could focus more on other things. And so you can't have everything, you just can't have it all at once. And that was an interesting concept I realized later in life, because I was trying to do everything at once and I was getting frustrated. So it's like, I think it's important to really sit down, like, okay, the next 6 months, a year, 2 years, to sit down, like, what do I actually want? And realize it's a cost. There's a cost. Again, even the most successful people, there's a cost to that. And I wasn't aware of that cost until I started to actually get some quote unquote success in my own life. But there is a cost to success. There is a price you have to pay. And I was not aware of that cost, honestly. And when I achieved, some things I set out to do and I saw the cost, I was like, oh boy, like looking back, I'm like, that wasn't worth it, And that makes me now more cautious, not cautious, but more conscious of what goals or pursuits I tend to choose, and just realize, like, there's a cost. And then that also ties, I guess, into the cost of saying yes to things, is saying no to something else. I just suffered, like, people pleaser type tendencies, and I realized there's a cost to saying yes to things. Instead of making people happy, again, people pleaser is something that I'm working on, is by saying yes to something, I'm saying no to something else. So I think that framework helps me get through the people pleasing, in a sense of, like, being more comfortable saying no, because by saying yes, I'm saying no to something else. And I'll explore that more in another solo episode, but thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a great day.